Hey, what's up? It's GW coming to you live once again. Hey, listen, I'm just chilling out, doing the social distance deal. But anyway, I want to tell you guys about something that you guys may or may not remember. Is that anybody who knows Rockstar games knows there's no shortage of controversy when it comes to them. They've put out the Grand Theft Auto, highly successful Grand Theft Auto series. They have also put out Red Dead Redemption 2, where Red Dead Redemption, Max Payne, and some of the subject matter is a little bit bold for video games, at least it was at the time. But there's a lot of people who forget that Rockstar also put out one of the most infamous and controversial games of all time. I'm talking about Manhunt. Now, if you never played Manhunt or haven't even heard about it, it's because the first one might have been a flash in the pan. The second one caused worldwide controversy and almost did not get released on console. So I'm going to explain all that so that you guys know. It's just a rainy day. I figured I'd bring this to you guys' attention to let you know. So anyway, the first game starts off, and even the look of the film, or the look of the video game rather, is pretty much grainy, grimy, and looks like a snuff film, so to speak. In the game, you play James Earl Cash, who was a death row inmate who was sentenced to die. You wake up in a morgue and realize you're not dead, obviously. The only thing keeping you going or keeping you intrigued at this point, other than the fact that you didn't get killed, is why you didn't get killed. To help you along this game, you have a earpiece. And I don't mean like something in your ear to play it when you play. I'm talking about a voice that guides you. That is known as the director. The director makes you kill and kill and kill very graphically and puts you into a wicked game of his own amusement. Sounds like one of the Saw movies. And there's a reason there's no lights on. Because in the game, you hide in the shadows. You pick up plastic bags. You have to hide from your enemies and then silently take them out. At the time, it was given its fair amount of controversy because for the PS3 or PS2, it was deemed pretty realistic. So, in the opening intro to the game, where they're doing the tutorial, as a matter of fact, they tell you to hide in the shadows, lure a hunter. That's what the villains are called in this game, hunters. While you hide in the dark, wait for the guy to walk away. You use your L1 to target the guy. And when you target and you hold square X, a cross or target will appear over their heads. And it'll go from white to red. White being a light kill, yellow being a moderate kill, and red being an intense kill. The more intense the kills, the happier the director becomes. And a lot of people dismissed it as just a murder simulator. They didn't even acknowledge the fact that it had any story to it, and they sure didn't acknowledge that it took stealth, a lot of stealth and a lot of patience to complete this game. That being said, the game has a lot of horror elements to it. Toward the middle, I'd say the middle toward the end, you're looking at Texas Chainsaw Massacre territory. You're looking at The Running Man and a film called Death Sentence that came after it. All these kind of harken back or pay tribute, to the game. Well, I don't want to say to the game. Some of the horror elements are in the game, but you can associate Death Sentence, which came later. You can kind of think of the two along the same lines, is what I'm saying. So anyway, Rockstar put it out. It garnered some controversy because parents, deemed it a murder simulator, quote unquote. But the real story is that as you progress through the game, the director isn't really clear on why he's making you do this. He just has you do it. And some levels require an intense kill and a moderate kill to get past certain obstacles. The director also has fun with you at his has amusement with you making you do things like kill an inmate, bring him to the front gates of an insane asylum so you could go through, or transporting a hobo from point A to point B, hiding him in the shadows while you take out the derelicts of Carcer City. Carcer City, you guys, if you guys don't know, is the neighboring city in which Grand Theft Auto is set. Definitely look into that. There's a little connection there. In fact, I think it's on Grand Theft Auto 3. You hear the radio and it says, meanwhile in Carcer City, a manhunt's going on. So one could assume that that transmission is due to the fact that James Earl Cash is tearing up stuff in Carcer City, and they're letting people in the Grand Theft Auto cities know what's going on. So it's a little bit of a hit and miss. The thing with the game is that it is very frustrating, and I've heard every time I've been looking this thing up this week, looking back on it, it's said that a 12-year-old kid could finish it in one setting. That's crap. And I'm going to tell you why that's crap. Because it took me a week. I bought it last Saturday. It's on the PS Store. You can get it on your PS4. Took me a week. One board took me 1 hour and 8 minutes to complete. So I'd like to hear how a 1-year-old could, or a 12-year-old could sit there and beat the thing. The other thing I don't get is that people said it teaches your kid how to kill. Well, it doesn't. Because for every action that you take in this game, there's about 20 reactions, especially when later on in the levels where you're dealing with SWAT. SWAT will come down and just blast you. So it's actually showing me that if you try to kill someone, guess what? You're going to get shot. Moral thing here. So that's wrong too. So anyway, Rockstar put the game out. I remember playing it back when it came out, and I didn't remember it was as violent as what it was. And it's pretty wickedly violent. In fact, there's one board where you can actually hack somebody's head off with a machete and use it to lure other hunters. It's pretty slick. But it's, again, rated M for mature. You guys got to have a lot of patience when you play this. Trust me. It took me a week, about 2 hours a night on one board, and I was able to knock it down. So anyway, they released that. It was a fairly good hit. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a wickedly devilish, macabre ride because I had the patience to do it. The controversy from part 1 died down a little bit. Everybody backed off, and Rockstar kept releasing the Grand Theft Auto series. And then they released Manhunt 2, which I remember clearly seeing a clip on it, and I was like, oh, Manhunt 2. You know, wasn't really a fan of the first one at that time. I just remember it was so-so to say the least. I didn't know it would become, part 1 would become one of the most violent games in video game history. You know, that's what parents call it. You know, that's what you can still read about. And Manhunt 2 was actually given the death kiss and given the adults only rating. Now, what that meant, guys, was that no console would ever put that on there with an adults rating. So that was the game unsanitized, was given an adults rating. Now PC, on the other hand, can do whatever it wanted. So PC put it out, no questions asked. Rockstar released, believe it or not, sanitized versions of this game for console. So I remember going to GameStop, and I remember buying one and brought it home, played it off and on, and I thought really it wasn't that great. I thought that, you know, compared to the first one, when you kill somebody, it's graphic, you feel kind of, you know, awesome, you just pulled off a cool kill, you know what I mean, and you go hide, you wait for the next guy to come around. This one, as soon as you killed somebody really graphically, it went to these weird neon lights, images, like an LSD flashback, and it really wasn't great. I found out shortly after that in order to get the M rating, Rockstar had to clean up any graphic execution that you pull off. Made the game almost worth playing. Not worth playing. It made the game suck, you know, in lack of a better terminology. The controversy, the real controversy came, though, when it was released for the Wii. The Wii motion controls actually let you act out the strangulations, the stabbings, the slicings, and what have you. I've watched countless videos on YouTube of news reporters and senators trashing this. And one such gentleman, I can't remember his name, but I'll post a video for you, complained about this game back in the day and then ended up being arrested on some other charges that I thought was funny. You go blame all this crap about a game, you point your finger at a game, and you're the one doing stuff that's worse. Anyway, Manhunt, I saw it on the PS Store, and I said, you know what? I remember that game for only $9. What the hell, right? So I started playing it, and I couldn't stop. I had to complete it. And it's a very, very tough game, you guys. And it's an underrated series, too, that Rockstar should have done something different with number 2. We probably would have had a Manhunt 3 if that would have happened. But I always thought that Manhunt 1 would make a pretty awesome movie. If you scripted it right, I thought it would have been great. You could have had James Earl Cash wake up from almost getting executed. You would have kept it NC-17, though, because you would have put in the executions and the snuff-style violence. You could have had this director kidnap Cash's family, hold them for ransom till the very end of the film, and Cash would ultimately have to confront the director after dealing with all this violence that he is forced to do. Thought it would have been great. And at the end, you would have had a Texas Chainsaw Massacre showdown with Pigsy, who is not the main boss, but the secondary boss. He's the boss or not even a boss. He's the character you fight before meeting the director. It would have been great. It would have been classic horror film, macabre, sort of Texas Chainsaw Massacre-ish, delirium horror is what you'd be looking at. And you would have geared up the Pigsy character all through the movie when you're not focused on Cash, and it would make audience excited about the eventual showdown. The director, whose death is pretty epic in the game, I'm not going to ruin it for you, would have a vendetta against Cash before Cash got thrown into death row, and therefore you would have a story to build on. Now, in the game, if you've ever played it, Cash also meets a news reporter. And the news reporter sort of seeks out the truth about an underground snuff ring. I thought that that would have been a good angle to go by. She's trying to convince the police and everybody else that Cash is innocent, and that he is forced to do this because there's other bigger and more wickeder things out there. And I could even see the poster for the game now, or the movie now. It would say, they've killed Cash once. They thought they got away with it. Cash is back to take them out silently. It would have been great. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, about the Manhunt controversy, because, like I said, it's a crappy day. There's really nothing going on, but if you didn't know anything about it now, at least you know something about it. And Manhunt is still considered probably the most violent video game of all time. Put that ahead of Grand Theft Auto and whatnot. And if you've played the game, all I can say is, I'm in the dark. The hunters are gone. Now I can turn on the lights. It's GW. Catch you later.